to have you on board with us. And Radhika is an author of Contrived Connections. So, Radhika, would you like to tell something about yourself and your book?
I am basically a teacher. I am a doctorate in mathematics, but I have always had this interest in literature from very young age. I used to read a lot, and maybe my surroundings. I lived in a very scenic place in the Nilgiris, no, in Ooty, Kunur. So I was always interested in expressing beauty. So what began as a hobby for reading, I started writing, and gradually this developed. But always my second love has been mathematics also. So I continue teaching maths to children here in Chennai now.
And you are a doctorate in mathematics also. And
Yeah.
I was an average student when I used to study maths, and I just hated maths. So I think you love maths. I mean, what drive do you have for maths?
See, it was not actually something I planned. I think from a very young age, I wanted to be a teacher. That I was sure. But for some time, I wanted to actually teach English. So that was my goal for a very long time. And then certain circumstances, no, I couldn't decide. Like both, I liked maths and English equally. But then I saw like there is more scope for a mathematics. And when I started liking it, see, I was also in my school, I also had some struggles with maths in the very early stages. But I came to know like the right way of approach can make a lot of difference in learning maths. So I wanted definitely to help because, maths phobia is there among quite a few students. And there are students who find it difficult for a very, very long time. So it was my aim, like not to take the creamiest children, to take those who are struggling actually and bring them out of that and bring them to like a conceptual understanding. So somehow that developed maybe after the 10th. So till that, I was not very particular about maths actually.
So my first question to you, ma'am, is how did you get the idea to write this book?
So it is not this book. Generally, when I start writing, I don't think about it and sit down with a pen. So this starts as I do my daily work. So we are all women, we have work at home. So even when I dry the clothes or I'm washing the vessels, something strikes me that I have to express something. And from a very early age, I have been seeing or hearing of women being abused or always they are on the, like, even though we are treated as equals now to a certain extent, there are certain things that women have to bear the brunt of society. So I always wanted to represent what women feel. See, it is not a matter of like showing your power. I think from the men also should understand what we go through as women. So I always had that idea to express everything. And most of my heroines are like that. No, they are not cowards. They are quite bold women, but they take decisions not only just to like show that they are powerful, but it is something more than that. No, they're what they derive out of their lives. So that is how the story started. And then I was my roots are in Kerala basically. So I was always the story is based on Kerala and the villages there. I have visited there quite a few times, and I found a striking difference. See, not many of us are gifted with that thing of visiting villages. So all this together, actually, this kept going in my head. That's all.
Okay, ma'am. So my next question is: you are currently coaching students in Chennai while fulfilling your passion for writing. So does it get hard sometimes balancing your life?
Yeah, definitely. Some days, like, I really sometimes I'm almost on the verge of giving up. But then I tell, when I start writing the stories, I forget. I forget that stress and tension. Only thing like we have to overwork. Sometimes I have to work through the night or early in the morning, and the schedules are tough because I have to watch the exams of so many children. No, I tutor the children means they have their exams coming, so I have to have too many things on my mind, and sometimes that gets a little difficult. But I feel like with proper, if you organize a little, no, here and there everybody makes mistakes, but if we organize a little, then learn to forgive ourselves when we make mistakes and don't think that we are superwomen, then I think fine. If we try to play the role of a superwoman, that is when the problem comes in. And definitely I have support from my family, so I'm able to manage to a large extent.
You often write love stories, or have you ever thought of writing a different genre also?
See, it is basically not love stories. There is love in my story, but it is what stories I write are not basically love stories. If you see, I had written even a short story collection. See, it is a variety of emotions, no, from jealousy, friendship. Some of the stories are based on how a relation between a man and woman need not always be love. It can be a deep friendship of some kind. So it is not basically they are not love stories, but definitely an element of love is interesting for the reader. And sometimes, no, it has to be introduced to keep the story running. So it is there, but I do write the genres. Especially, I would like to think of writing something like a totally different out of these. Mostly now I write about human emotions, anger, hatred, jealousy, friendship, love, affection, those sort of things. So maybe I have not tried any thriller or mystery story based things. I used to read a lot of those, but I have never thought of writing those sort of stories.
Okay, so ma'am, as you know that this pandemic, has been very hard for a lot of people. A lot of people, lost their loved ones also, and
Yeah.
sometimes, people have suffered from anxiety, depression, living in four walls. So, what was your experience? Share your struggles with us. That what did you face?
See, with God's grace, I didn't have to struggle very much. We just managed through it. But if you see, like financially, there has been strain on every family almost. So I had a little, see, I used to get a lot of students now because it's online. That was a change. We had to suddenly switch over. No, we are not so tech savvy before, means we have to bring in all those things. We have to spend a lot on gadgets. So those expenses were more, and we had children in who couldn't afford to pay the fees, but we still have taking them. So there were issues like that. I could see actually a lot of people, but we had our own problems in procuring our usual things. But compared to so many others, really with God's gift, no, we have managed through. Then, as an author, if you feel means the book sales definitely get affected because there was no delivery of books through Flipkart, Amazon, and those sort of things. So those were there, and children or parents who usually visit big bookstores have not been visiting them. So that, as an author, I can feel. But from the point of view, I feel from how I see the children, no, I feel they are the ones who have been very much affected. I really miss seeing the children with me physically. They used to really pep up my spirit. My children who come for tuition here, but that way I have missed out on relationships more than anything else. Watching people, seeing them, having a get together, no. So that is what has really been very sad. And many people have lost their very basic things, and to watch them, see whether we can do something for them. That is what I always feel.
Okay, so it is my last question. Have you started working on your next project?
Yes, I have started working. Actually, I have a lot of pressure from my children to write something for them. So I'm thinking on those lines so that I can write. Usually, my stories are for at least 14 or 15 plus. So something I should try, I thought, to write for younger children so that they will also enjoy it. So basically, that is what I'm thinking. But I have started working on one or two of my other projects.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a delight having you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you for the opportunity.
Have a
Thank you.
great day.